Hey there! Today we're diving into a really big question, especially for those smaller, super innovative biotech firms. You've got this brilliant, maybe even life-saving idea. So how in the world do you get it through the maze of US clinical trials without completely draining the bank? Yeah, let's get into it.
I mean, that's the dream, isn't it? Taking something you discovered in a lab and turning it into something that can actually help people. But let's be real, the path to get there is, well, it's not a straight line. It's a super high-stakes journey where, honestly, every single move you make counts.
And then you hit the wall, the biggest hurdle of them all. For so many startups, for so many brilliant minds in academia, the cost of running a clinical trial it's staggering. It can stop a fantastic idea cold. This one financial barrier, this is the reason so many promising treatments just disappear.
So how do you get past that wall? Well, that's where a CRO comes in. That stands for Contract Research Organization. Just think of them as the pros you bring on board. They're the ones who handle the nitty-gritty, everything from finding patients for the trial to dealing with all the complex regulations. Honestly, they're absolutely essential. But not all CROs are created equal. You kind of got two main paths you can take. On one side, you have the big guys, the giant CROs. They're established, sure, but that often means you're dealing with these rigid, one-size-fits-all packages, really high costs, and you're talking to junior staff, not the experts. Then you've got the small CROs. They're a whole different breed. They're nimble, they're focused, and their whole model is built around being flexible and giving you direct access to the top people. And for a smaller company making this choice, it can be everything. Okay, so let's really unpack this. We're going to start with the first huge advantage, how these smaller CROs help you spend smarter and move faster, basically just tearing down those financial walls.
And here's the bottom line, right up front. Small CROs can give you incredibly high-quality services, but at a fraction of the cost. And this isn't about doing things on the cheap or cutting corners, not at all. It's about a smarter, more efficient way of working that gets you the same or sometimes even better results for a price you can actually afford.
So you're probably asking, okay, how do they do that? Well, it's pretty clever. First off, they have a much leaner structure. There's way less administrative overhead, that corporate bloat that costs a ton of money. Their whole operation is streamlined. They use local and regional experts, which slashes travel costs. And maybe the biggest thing, they don't lock you into some giant pre-made package. You get to pick and choose, so you only pay for what you actually need. And all that money they save, it goes right back into your pocket. And this next point is so important to get. In clinical research, time is literally money. Every single day you're delayed, the costs just pile up. For a startup with a limited amount of cash, that can be absolutely devastating. So being fast and efficient, that's not just a nice little bonus, it's about survival. And this is where being small and nimble is a massive advantage. Small CROs are fantastic at adapting on the fly because, let's face it, research is unpredictable. They can make key decisions fast without having to go through 10 layers of management. And what does that mean? Fewer delays. It means your trial stays on track, and just as important, it stays on budget.
Okay, so it's not just about saving money and time, as huge as that is. The next piece of this is about expertise. It's about getting a real partner who has deep, specialized knowledge in your specific field. Yeah, this quote really hits the nail on the head. You see, instead of trying to be everything to everyone, a lot of these smaller CROs are specialists. They're masters of one specific area. Think about it. If you're working on a new cancer drug, you don't just want a generic CRO. You want a team that lives and breathes oncology, right? That kind of focused insight is just, you can't put a price on it.
Plus, the whole experience of working with them is just different. With a small CRO, you're not just another number. You're not going to get handed off to some junior staffer. Nope. You get a direct line to the senior experts, the people who are genuinely invested in making your trial a success. The communication is open and honest, the project management is built just for you, and you get the same dedicated team the whole way through. It really feels less like you hired a company and more like you've expanded your own team.
Now, beyond the science, there's this whole other jungle you have to get through. The U.S. regulatory maze. I mean, it is a seriously complex web of rules from the FDA and other groups, and it is so easy to get tangled up, even if you've done this before.
This is where small CROs act like your expert guide. They have specialists on their team who do nothing but live and breathe this stuff. They know all the common traps with paperwork, they make sure everything follows good clinical practice to the letter, and they can guide you through those super critical applications. All of this helps you avoid expensive mistakes and keeps your trial on the right side of the rules from the very beginning. All right, so we've got cost, we've got expertise, And we've got navigating regulations. The last big piece of this puzzle is about growth. It's about how this all fits together to help a startup go from a small idea to a huge success. And this is a really big deal. A startup's needs change constantly, right? What you need for a tiny phase 1 study is totally different from what you need for a massive phase 3 trial. Small CROs understand this. Their entire model is designed to be flexible and to grow and change right along with you.
And this shows you the smart way to approach it. You don't have to go all in and bet the entire company on one huge trial right out of the gate. Instead, you can start small with a really targeted trial. Keep those costs low in the beginning. Then, as you start getting good data and proving your idea works, your CRO partner can scale up right alongside you, helping you move into those bigger trials when it actually makes sense.
So when you pull all these threads together, the picture becomes really clear. Small CROs are more than just service providers. They're like catalysts for innovation. They lower the financial hurdles, they bring in that niche expertise, they let you scale up smartly, they handle the regulatory headaches, and they do it all as a real partner.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that small CROs make clinical trials more accessible, way more efficient, and ultimately more successful. This is about more than just saving a few bucks. It means that smaller companies, brilliant researchers, they're not shut out of the game anymore. It's kind of democratizing the whole process, making success about the quality of the science, not the size of the bank account.
And that really leaves us with a powerful question to think about. What happens if cost isn't the biggest barrier anymore? If a brilliant idea is judged on its science, not just on how much funding it has, what kind of amazing new innovations could we unlock? Just think about the possibilities.